So today I'm going to talk about labor market impact assessment, LMIA, the system that government has put in to allow Canadian employers to bring in foreign workers as temporary workers and all. So I'll talk about what that system is, how this is getting misused, how there's a lot of fraud that is happening in this system, and to what level that fraud is, right? And then I'm going to talk about the oversight of the government, right, in this case, and also like not staying in touch with the actual numbers, how many LMIs and all they have issued, right? And I'm going to show complete mismanagement of this issue by the government, right? So normally, as Canadians, we are not aware of these programs and all because we don't deal with it. But Canadian government allows employers, right? If they want to bring in foreign workers, they could file an application on Canadian government with Canadian government, and they would have to pay some fee and all, and they are eligible under certain rules to bring that foreign worker into Canada, right? If they pass the visa process and all. Now, the employer is not getting any payment and all from the worker, right? In fact, they would be paying the worker and all. They might have to help them. They should help them settle down into Canada and all. But what is actually happening? There are a lot of the shell companies that are built into Canada, right? What they would do is they would file these LMIs for international people who would not be actually working with the employer and all, right? But what they do is they charge 30,000, 40,000, even $50,000 to these people. They're exploiting them, right? So think about how much time will it take you to earn $40,000 or $50,000, right? Probably you'll be working like at least half a year, right? Even if you have good salaries, at least you'll be working half in a year. So a lot of these shell companies or wrong companies and all who are established in Canada, who are not providing much employment and all, they misuse the system to take away like this $40,000, $50,000 straight away from these international people who want to come to Canada, right? So they are getting exploited and all. So first of all, the people who are applying to come to Canada under these conditions, all they're quite desperate, right? So there are many agents, many immigration agents and all that tie up with these international employers, like Canadian employers and all, to issue them LMI and charge them so much fees, right? So employer should not be charging even $1 from the workers, right? Because they want to bring in because there's acute shortage in Canada, and for those reasons they want to bring in that foreign worker. But how that system is being misused is they're charging $40,000 to $50,000 to these people like who are not aware of the system and all, and they would pay because they would think that they will have a brighter future and all. And for some people, it's really good opportunity because they come into Canada, right, even after paying this hefty fee, but like through this fraud scenario and all, but they would have a part to PR all also. But there are many people, right, who are getting exploited by the agents and all, who would charge like 50% upfront fee, and they every year they'll say like, okay, we're working on the application and all. So I know like there are a lot of the people, right, who are into this process, who are paid to the agents and all, and those people are not aware, they're not so knowledgeable also, right? Quite innocent people who have been stuck into this fraud, right? And the government is already aware of this fraud, right? So the current government has not done much or like anything at all to prevent this fraud now, right? So if the and these frauds could be very easily fixed, which I'll talk about. But now we'll talk about the oversight on this program and this how this program has been mismanaged, right? So now I'll talk about and I'll share some of the numbers. So again, my opinions are always based on the numbers, right? Based on real facts and all. So if we see the number of LMIs, so this is what I downloaded from Government of Canada's website. So these numbers are here. LMI numbers and all here, right? How many numbers you want to find. You can find all of this data here online, right? So here, if you see the number of LMI applications that were issued in 2016, those were around 90,000, right? In 2023, it was 2.5 times, around 2.5 times of that. So did you see the employment opportunities increase within Canada to 2.5 times? I think you have seen that reduced by 2.5%. 2.5 times, right? You might have seen your chances to get an employment would have reduced significantly in the last 5 or 6 years, right? And at least in the last year, we have seen we were already going through a real recession, right? People are not getting jobs at all, right? Canada, people are struggling. Even after that, instead of reducing these applications and all, Canadian government has still increased the applications, right? They are aware that people are in miserable situation, right? Canada is going through a very tough time. So at least in that year, they could have acted, right? At least once they know. So 2022, like from the mid of 2022 to 2023, it was 100% clear that Canadian economy is in a very, very bad situation. Still, the government has increased the number of LMIs. So number one is there's a lot of fraud that is going on in this system. Next is mismanagement from the government. They have been continuously increasing the number of these applications and all, which means more fraud, right? And then third is there's no oversight, right? Like how many applications are getting there, like whether they should reduce these, they should increase these, what's the proper framework for increasing these or reducing these, and there's no oversight in all, right? And like the fourth is fixing it, right? Like fixing these fraud cases and all. It could be easily fixed. So I've seen like if you try to see LMIA fraud and all, you will see some of the news that these employers would have to, even if they're caught, they would have to pay fine up to like maybe $20,000, $30,000 and all, which is less than the amount they would earn through exploiting one of the foreign workers, right? So if you are an employer, if you try to issue like 10 LMIs and all, right, you would earn like you can earn like 300K, right, to 400K and all. But if you get caught, you might end up paying like 20K or 30K and all, right? So the government should make these as criminal charges and all, right? So they could easily go back, they could see how many LMIs were issued for each of those where the LMI were issued. They could go to those employers, see whether those people are really getting employed, see the taxes of those people and all, right? How much did they pay? So it could be very easily, we could very easily see whether this program was nicely used or misused and all. And I would say there would be like a lot of the ratio that is misusing this program and all, right? So as Canadians, it is very important for us to share these videos so that Canadian immigration system tries to bring in the best people. There is less fraud, right? So that honest people are also not getting exploited in all. So there is good opportunity for nice, talented people to come into Canada and settle down. Also, the immigration system should not cause any like long-term effects on the Canadian population also who has been living there, who has been very open to having immigrants and all. So Canada has the best immigration culture, like best culture for immigrants, right? So now because of the oversight of the government, everybody is in a miserable situation, right? So we should share these videos to to show everyone what is the role of government and how they have not been doing their job at all, right? Again, my research like my opinions are backed by data and I've shared the data. Thank you.